Hello and welcome back to Talk of the Townsends. I'm Benedict Townsend.
And I'm Hannah Townsend.
How you been, Hannah Townsend?
I'm good. People have been asking for a hashtag normal episode.
Hashtag normal.
Well, they didn't say hashtag normal, actually. They just said, can you guys just do a normal episode at some point? Because some people, they like the stories of our lives.
They don't want a freak episode. They're like, we're sick of all these episodes with A-list movie stars in them. We don't want to hear from them. We want to hear from you about your alarm.
We have our biggest alarm update to date.
It's the most alarming yet.
This story is it's just such a crazy combination of things had to happen for this story to take place.
I don't even know which one you're talking about here.
Can we catch people up with the alarm?
We've got a burglar alarm installed, like a house alarm, and it has just not stopped going off. And we didn't know what was setting it off. The whole reason we got it is that it's supposed to not be activated by pets. My God, has our cat been setting it off?
Yeah, people from the alarm company have to keep coming round. People from our street keep asking us what's happening with the alarm because... absolutely fair. It's blooming annoying that the alarm keeps going off.
People from our street, quite selfishly, don't seem to like it that our burglar alarm keeps going off at 4 a.m.
It's completely justified. We completely get it. We are sick of the alarm too. But the other night, Benedict set the night alarm because we also have a night alarm.
Yes, I did.
And...
oh, sorry.
So the night alarm man's downstairs. So... if you've been tuning in for the alarm updates, you'll know that when we go down the stairs in the morning, we also set the alarm off.
We forget we've set the night alarm and then we set it off ourselves. By the way, I'm going to get ahead of the story here. Hannah's acting like it's crazy that I put the alarm on at night. Why even have an alarm if you're not putting it on at night? When the vampires are around.
I wake up early. I think I need to go downstairs because I've got a Pilates class, okay? I need to go downstairs to get, Suki wants to be fed. I need to start getting ready for the day. I open the app because the alarm is on an app. It says panel is offline, as in the alarm panel is offline, and I can't get in. So I think, oh dear. I put my phone over. I think I'll come back to that in 5 minutes. I come back in 5 minutes.
That's future Hannah's problem.
Panel is offline. I think, shit. I think I'll leave it 10 minutes. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, an hour. It's been an hour and a half. The panel is still offline. I can't disable the alarm. So I wake Benedict up and I say, I need help. I need to go downstairs. We're trapped upstairs.
Yeah, so this alarm, which was meant to keep people out of the house, had actually now trapped us inside the house.
Upstairs.
We're now trapped upstairs in our own home.
I woke you up and I said... we were going to Benedict's family for Easter lunch. I said, yeah, another thing, it's a bank holiday. It's bank holiday Sunday. I said to Benedict, do you not think we'll be able to go to your families for lunch? Because at this point, we're trapped upstairs.
Because we were really scared that we would go down, set it off, and then have no way to turn it off.
Right, because it says panel offline. So I kept saying, you can turn it off from the panel. But I thought, if it starts going off and the panel's offline, what do we do?
And then also, if we'd set it off that way, that would be so annoying.
Because we would be trapped with the sound.
Yeah, and also it wasn't currently going off. So if we just set it off and then we're like, great, now we can't set it off. That's so stupid.
I'm stressed because I've got my Pilates class and I'm thinking I need to get going. So we ring an emergency number. I've now been trapped upstairs for 2 hours. No food, no water, just us and the cat.
Close to death after 2 hours.
I ring this out of hours on a bank holiday Sunday. It's quite early. I feel bad, but I'm like, I don't know what to do. This guy picks up, I think he was asleep, and I say, look, we're trapped upstairs. I thought you might want to chime in, but obviously you don't know the story.
I wasn't on the call.
You be the guy. We're trapped upstairs.
Not these bloody people again. Hi, ma'am. How you doing?
And he basically says, you can go, it should be fine. Go downstairs, the panel, you should be able to type in the number and it should stop. But he kept saying should, and he said, ring me back if it doesn't. I'm like, well, obviously I'm going to ring you back if it doesn't. It doesn't stop.
I like the idea of him picking up the phone and he can just hear a blaring alarm in the background. He's like, did it work?
I know. So I said, look, I'm really sorry. I am sorry to disturb you on an Easter Sunday. He says, go downstairs and try it. We've been trapped up upstairs in the house for multiple hours now, worried about the alarm.
We go down and I successfully defused it.
Within the stress of the alarm situation, I somehow... missed the time to leave for my Pilates class.
Hold on.
And I missed...
This is just Hannah getting something wrong.
I needed to leave at a certain time and I didn't leave. And then I looked at my phone and I said, my Pilates class in 5 minutes. And you went, do you think you'll make it? I said, Do I think I'll make it to the Pilates studio in 5 minutes?
What happened was you thought it was at 11 and it was at 10. That's got nothing to do with the alarm.
Well, anyway, I missed the Pilates class.
So there was a very unhappy ending to this story.
How annoying.
I know, you love a little Pilates class on the contraption.
Dear God, let that be the last alarm update you ever get.
Something tells me, don't close that book just yet.
One thing I think we have to address is and I do think that our regular audience listeners will understand this, but when our question and answers videos, which we do on our TikTok page, if you watch them, it's where we ask kind of big film TV questions. And there's a point of the video that usually I will say something and Benedict will explain the concept. And he is explaining it to the audience.
Yeah, so basically Hannah will usually introduce the concept. We did one the other day that was like, Hannah went, what's the greatest needle drop in a movie? Right? And then I, just for the sake of variety and pace, I will go, a needle drop is when they play a song in a movie. And we'll keep doing it back and forth in the manner of a video.
But the problem is the way we've set that up, Benedict keeps getting mansplaining accusations because obviously it does seem like maybe if you don't make videos that I say something and then you explain what it means back to me, but you are doing that for the audience.
Yeah, I think people forget that there are 3 people in the conversation. There's me and you and the audience.
Yeah.
Like, I think people forget there's a camera and they think it's you going, what's the best needle drop? And me going, listen, Hannah, here's what a needle drop is. No, I'm not explaining it to her. I'm explaining it to the audience. Not everyone in the audience is going to know what that is.
Yeah, the problem is I do think that there's really no point in us saying it here because I think people who listen to us would know that that's not what you're doing. But when the video...
Do you think I'm just mansplaining here?
Yeah,
Is that the problem?
No, I mean, I started it, so I'm womansplaining. But like, you know, I think when the videos get too big, people don't know you. They're like, wow, he's just explaining it back to her. And I do keep going back to comments saying, no, like he's explaining to the audience. But any video we put out now gets mansplaining allegations.
The problem with with mansplaining as a concept is definitely a real thing. But sometimes as a man, you do just have to explain something.
Yeah.
And it can feel a bit awkward sometimes. It's just one of the many ways in which being a man is the hardest thing in the world. Because it is a weird thing of like, our conversations are real, but obviously, like we're telling each other stories about our own lives that we already know because we were both there. So we're telling the stories really for the audience.
But we do it. I mean, the reason that we started this podcast is we always wanted things to feel like a dinner party, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to feel like it's me and you retelling?
Retelling.
Really?
You forgot the word retelling and the word really.
Retelling.
Retailing is when you're selling things, I guess.
Retelling.
Regaling?
I think I was going for regaling. Regaling stories like, you know, we were all sat around having like
A glass of wine.
a glass of wine, or if you don't drink, you know.
We're sat around a table. We're having a glass of wine. We wanted to order individual meals. You've insisted that we do little sharing plates.
We hate that.
There's not quite enough food for everyone, but don't worry, it's very expensive.
Also, everyone is always like, then you can take as little or as much as you want. The problem is I want much.
Yeah, I want food.
And others want much too. And actually, it's not a full meal. It's never a full meal.
No. The reason why it's usually, well, sometimes it's cheaper and it's just because that way there's not enough food for everyone and that's why it's cheaper.
Yes.
But sometimes it's actually more expensive and it's like, but the reason the restaurant does this is so they can serve you less food. It's like when they put chips in a little metal cup instead of on the plate.
Yeah.
Because that way you can put 5 chips in the cup and it hides the fact there's 5 chips when there should be a bountiful mountain of chips.
When we went out the other day, we went to a pizza restaurant and the idea was floated of sharing pizzas. And I'm like, that's insane. I could always just like eat a pizza in full. We had lots of starters. So I actually didn't find the pizza sharing too much of an issue.
But I think when it comes to sharing food, maybe I should speak for myself, but I feel like I enter a slightly more of a survival mode because I'm like, well, my food options are about to be limited here. And if I don't monitor the pizza, maybe the other person will just eat all the pizza and then I'll be hungry. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if I have my own pizza, maybe I won't eat the whole pizza. I will every time, but maybe I won't. I have the option.
Yes.
But if it's just me and someone else sharing or multiple people sharing a pizza, I'm thinking the whole time, have I had enough slices of pizza? Have I had too many slices of pizza? Why am I doing pizza maths?
Yeah.
When I should be having fun.
I think a pizza sounds like it's like a more obvious thing to share, but like when you're somewhere and we're sharing like half a chicken breast or half a salmon, I think I just want my own salmon. But you don't seem like a team player. I would say
Yeah.
we are very like adaptable. Like we're like easygoing.
Yeah, we're not going to like, if someone wants to do that, we're not going to fight them on it.
No, yeah, of course.
We'll bitch about it later on a podcast.
But I mean in life, like we're quite like, if someone is desperate to go somewhere, we'll go somewhere. Like
Yeah.
we're not really people who'll be like, I want to do this. Like we're quite go with the flow people.
We are.
But when it comes to food, I just always would rather have my own meal.
I was thinking about this the other day. I'm sure I've said this in the podcast before, that like really the meaning of life is just that life is mostly made up of things you don't really want to do, and how you approach life is really just how you deal with those situations.
What if you have like a positive mental attitude of like seeing things as fun?
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like most of life is like doing stuff you don't really want to do. You're like, oh, I have to go to the post office. Or
Hang
I have
out
to-
with my husband.
I have to spend time doing my stupid podcast or whatever. And like, honestly, it sounds so lame when it's like positive mental attitude, but I think your brain is actually very easy to trick. And if you can just find something in anything where you go, this might be useful in this way, or, you know, even if it's like I'm queuing for the post office and it's so boring, and it's like, let me just see how long I can stand here without being on my phone and just see if I can do that. Just to test my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the other option is you go, oh, this sucks, it sucks. But that just makes you feel worse. You know, you're wallowing in it. Because I used to be a lot like that as a kid, where I'd be like, oh, can't believe my parents are taking me to look at curtains on a Sunday. Oh. But it's like, well, look, it's going to happen either way. So you might as well try and find some fun in this.
You might as well lean in. You might as well open and close all of the curtains in the store.
Yeah, and then I'm giggling, ha ha ha, oh, I love curtains. I actually used to love running around Allied Carpets. So Allied Carpets, I don't know if it still exists, was a carpet shop, maybe a chain.
I probably could have guessed.
And the shops would be really big, and obviously carpeted. And so very fun to run around, and like lots of things you could hide behind. But I always loved the name Allied Carpets. I always thought that was kind of weirdly militaristic or kind of formal for a carpet company. Like, you know, we as carpet companies have come together to form Allied Carpets, and we will defy anyone. And if the Hardwood Alliance should come by, Allied Carpets will stand firm.
Very nice.
Did you have anywhere like that as a kid where you were like, I kind of like going to the paint shop?
Yeah, I kind of didn't mind going anywhere. I was always just in my own head. I more hated like when people were speaking to me. Like I didn't mind being like sat in a car because I'd always be like daydreaming, or like walking around a shop because I'd just be like thinking to myself. It was more when like I had to interact. I was like,
Because you're an only child as well, so you were just always with your parents.
and always in my own head.
What kind of stuff are you daydreaming about? One day I'll have a podcast.
I don't know. I would just like make up scenarios. I would like imagine like conversations in my head. I would like just kind of anything. I would just constantly be somewhere else that wasn't, and like very inspired by like film and TV of just imagining things happening to me, like that I was the Princess of Genovia, like genuinely like mapping out what that would look like in my own head. And
What would my fiscal policy be?
yeah, I would imagine every single scenario, and usually good, you know.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Imagining horrible scenarios.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh,
But
Genovia's been invaded by Allied Carpets.
I don't know. I just spent so much time in my head thinking up things, thinking up ideas of like things I could be.
Head in the clouds.
Yeah, 100%. And it was more when I had to like stop and like, yeah, have interactions and talk that I would like have to like come out of my head that I'd be like, this is inconvenient.
I was thinking the other day about how, like, as we get older and we're much closer to like parent age than kid age, and I do find myself suddenly sympathizing and understanding the parent point of view a bit more in terms of random stuff. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you meet like your parents' friend in the street,
Yeah.
and they introduce you and they're like, oh my God, this is my friend David. And as a kid, you're like, oh, I don't care. This is so annoying or whatever. But if I had a kid and I ran into one of my mates, it'd be so funny to be like, hey, look, this is my kid. This is James and I. We went to uni together. Isn't that crazy? And obviously the kid's like, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't understand.
You know, I've obviously raised an iPad kid. So they're
Yeah.
like, they're deep in, you know, 6, 7.
Because kids don't have any concept, like, you're their whole life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for me, my parents didn't exist like outside me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You just can't really understand that. I don't really understand that they had a life before me. It's all about me.
It's also, again, another kind of thing I've had as I'm getting older of like, just realizing like just how much life my parents had lived before I was born.
Yeah.
Like, my parents were in their like probably around our age when they had me, like kind of mid to mid 30s. Well, not mid 30s actually, early to mid 30s. And it's like, yeah, man, that's like 3 decades of life. They had like careers and relationships and like.
It's mad when you see, photos of your parents. Like when your mum was showing us her on that ski trip. I was like, you went on a ski trip before us?
Yeah, it's like many ski trips,
We were also talking to your mum at Easter about, we're children of telly.
We were raised by the old. I'm trying to think of any slang term for the. Yeah, that was
the box.
The box.
The box.
The movie is the silver screen. What's the TV?
The black screen.
The Black Mirror.
But, we spent so much time watching telly as a kid.
But I don't think that's the same as being like an iPad kid.
I agree, because we would come home to the telly.
Yes.
But I would always just want to be home watching telly.
Oh my God, I spent my whole childhood watching telly, and I'm not going to lie, I don't think it did me any harm.
No.
Because also, I do think telly back in the day was slightly more nutritious than it is now.
Maybe.
Like kids programming, because obviously now you have like brain rot and stuff, but kids programming, like I learned so much from The Simpsons. But even shows like Recess, which I used to love, like they would have kind of
good moral messages.
yeah, and like stealth educational things where I would just randomly know the names of like US presidents. Or I remember I used to watch the Hercules TV show. And so I knew weirdly, a bunch of gods and stuff like that. It's not like super useful knowledge, but it's like better than Skibbity Toilet or something. But also it's that thing, a bit like when we used to have computer rooms where the telly was always stuck in one fixed place. So you were either watching telly or you weren't. It's not like now where you can be like, out to dinner with your family and then just watching on your phone, which is like, I think that's when you're getting into trouble.
You're right, because we wouldn't go out to dinner now and sit and watch telly. If we could.
Oh my God, the dream. I feel like when people meet us, they always ask us 2 questions. The first question is always, what are you watching and enjoying right now? Which you and I are always immediately stumped by. Because the second someone asks me that, I forget everything I've ever watched. And also because the nature of our business or whatever you call it is that we watch a lot of episode 1s of things, because we'll go to screenings or whatever and we'll start a lot of shows, but then there's only so much time, so it's like, what am I enjoying at the moment? It's like technically everything, but I haven't yet finished everything. And then the other thing everyone always says to us is like, who have you interviewed that was actually really mean? And it's like, no one. They're all media trained.
We beat them in quite a scenario where they're maybe on their best behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I think back in the day, maybe 20 years ago now, you would get pretty rogue press junkets where people would just be openly mean and rude. But now they have the good grace to at least keep it in.
Yeah, I heard such a good story. Have I ever told it? Of someone interviewing someone who I can't say who the names are.
Okay.
Someone was interviewing someone, and this person, they said, "Oh, I read that you all take stuff home from set."
Yes.
And this person stopped the interview and was like, "Where did you read that?" And I think it might have been like this person was British and the person that they were interviewing was American. And the way we would be like, "Oh, I heard you take stuff from set."
Yeah.
As in like,
As a bit of a joke.
Maybe the wires were crossed here, and this person stopped the interview, brought the publisher in and was like, "There are rumors going round about me that I am stealing from set." And it was more like, "I heard that you take mementos from set."
Yeah, which is like a thing that actors are always saying they're doing.
And apparently it was very tense. And this person just meant, like, I just thought people kind of took mementos from set.
Like a pen or something.
Yeah, well, the Friends stars at the end, I think like one of them has the light up sign for the coffee house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they took like loads.
It was stripping the set.
Yeah, right? You think, well, what else is going to be done with this? So I think that was what she was saying, but it was kind of misconstrued. And then this person was given a very harsh warning of like, be very careful when you accuse people of stealing. And she was like, I just meant... And this was like 20 years ago, but
Was it that long ago?
They were doing a written piece.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this was a real horse and hound.
Yeah. So it was a long time ago. I think it was a written piece.
Wow. That's wild.
If you ever see me on a night out and ask me, I will tell you who that is.
It's a famous diva, isn't it? Or Devo.
But we always meet people and they're always nice. People are always really nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're there to do a job. They're usually there to promote something.
Yeah,
you know,
but people are nice as
people
well.
are nice. I mean, we're nice to them. Like,
Yeah.
in a short 5 or 10 minute interaction, it would be kind of wild if someone was just like a real dick. I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's never happened to us.
No.
And what we do is like we'll watch a lot of episode 1s and 2s and sometimes 3s of things. And then in busy periods, what I find is that when I'm feeling a bit like, oh, I'm a bit overstimulated or like a bit anxious because things are so busy. What I find is that what I want to do is watch things that we've already watched because they feel like comforting and safe. Like we watched In-Betweeners, Amanda Land I'll put on. And like, that's not good for what we do.
No.
And then when we're out of busy periods, we'll go back and watch, we'll finish series.
Yes, but when your brain is quite, busy, you don't want to be like taking on new information.
Too much.
That's when you want the comfort telling.
Although we have just finished Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, I love Love on the Spectrum.
Me too.
I really think it's such a lovely show. And there have been arguments about shows like that. There was the Undateables, which I think I always found...
Was it mean?
I always thought it was a little bit mean. But, maybe I would rewatch it and reappraise it. But I never really liked it. I felt that they were maybe leaning into the cringe factor a little bit and that it was a little bit maybe making fun of the subjects.
Yeah.
And people have accused Love of the Spectrum of that because certainly it is a show that will highlight when like funny things happen because of people's autism or whatever, which is like part of life. But I do think when you see the effects the show has on these people's lives, there's a scene in the final episode of this latest season when like a lot of the participants are all at the same event and they're all like best friends.
Yeah.
And they all have each other and a lot of them are in successful relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whatever arguments you can make against this show, and there may be people who have a lot more qualifications than me, and that's fine. You can't doubt that this is very sweet, that all these people now have this community, and in some cases, relationships. And I think it's quite a well-meaning show that I think is quite well done. And it makes me cry. There was literally a scene in a recent episode where Madison was asking someone else, she was like, I have this form of autism, what do you have? And I don't know, I think it's just very useful and very... I don't know, humanizing and good.
And heartwarming. Like, I don't know. I'm very invested in these characters. I wish we'd seen more of Tanner this series.
I love Tanner.
Love Tanner. I mean, he said at the reunion part that he wasn't dating. So I guess, but like, I would just love to see Tanner, even if he wasn't dating. I would have loved to have spent time with him in the show.
Yes. And it's also lovely because you see like people's families and they always have like very like lovely, sweet families, supportive families. And they'll talk about how like, it's a common thread that they'll go like, childhood was very difficult. They had to overcome a lot of obstacles and we had to work really hard. But I think what's nice is that they acknowledge the things that can be hard about being on the spectrum or living with someone on the spectrum. But the show really wants to focus on the positives and the progress these people have made and the love they find and all that. It's very heartwarming in a way that doesn't feel cheesy to me. It feels very humanist.
Agreed.
I like it. Should we talk about how we had a scoop this week?
Oh, yeah.
Talk of the Townsends with a little scoop.
Hey, hey, hey.
What is this? A person feeling modest at the ice cream parlour? There's a little scoop for you here. We interviewed Michael Patrick King, creator of Sex and the City, creator of The Comeback, a creator of, and just like that, the creator of a little Che Diaz vehicle by the name of And Just Like That.
That was just where my mind was going of like, we have Michael Patrick King to thank for.
And Just Like That.
No, Che Diaz.
Che Diaz. And we were asking him about The Comeback and Trixie Mattel's in The Comeback. So I just said, hey, how did Trixie Mattel end up in this? And he dropped an exclusive that Trixie had apparently turned down the Traitors
4 times.
4 times, but they do like a jokey version of the Traitors in the show. And he was like, she turned down the real Traitors 4 times, but she came on our fake Traitors because she loves The Comeback. And then it was picked up by like Pink News and all these websites. And it was like, Talk of the Townsends got the interview. And I was like, look at us journalists.
Really fun. I love, because obviously I've watched that clip so many times. I love the bit where he goes, okay, yeah, great. When you ask the question, I'm like, oh, that's as good as someone. Like, the best thing you can do in an interview scenario is ask a question. They go, that's a great question.
Oh my God, that's like heroin when they do that.
Inject that into my veins.
I've had a few interviews where they go, ooh, not your best, but I'll answer it anyway.
It's, you always want a, they were great questions.
It's such a funny like roulette wheel or whatever the analogy is when you're doing interviews, because you ask them a question like that and he could have just gone, yeah, I don't know, she wanted to be on the show. Or he goes, hey, here's an exclusive. You just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's actually very hard to plan ahead with interviews of like, sometimes you're like, this is a banger question. And then they just don't.
There's just nothing
They
really
just don't
there.
get it. There's a question I love that has never gone well once.
And every time we go to interview someone, Benedict goes, shall we try it again? I'm like, no, it's dead and done.
Right, let me know in the comments what you think of this. The question I'm asking them, and they never understand it. The question is, what did you get to do on this film that you've never got to do before? And I'm always expecting them to say, hey, this is the first time I've ridden a horse on film. Or, hey, this is the first time I've done a New Zealand accent on film. And every single time they go, play this character.
Yeah.
I've never played this character before. Or work with this director. And it's like, yeah, man, I know about that.
It's because it's a dumb question.
But they don't get what I'm getting at of like...
But maybe it's a bad question. It's like every time I ask, what's the best film that's a musical thing, that I mess up every single time.
The question is, what's the best movie musical? And every time Hannah invents a new way of saying that. What's the best film that's a musical that has music in it?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And the person's always like, what?
Sorry? Because I don't know how to ask it. I make it up in my head every time. Anyway, yes or no, is that a crap question? I think it is, because the problem is, okay, and what you're always doing in our job is trying to not go back to formulaic answers, right?
Yes.
You don't want the person you are interviewing to give you a kind of a formula answer. You want them to tell a story or, like open up about something. And I think the problem with that, as a little bit of feedback,
Yes.
is just that like it's easy to go into like,
I know.
I love working with the director and blah blah blah, and like, when you've only got, it's not that that's not interesting, when you've only got 4 minutes to talk to someone and they spend a lot of time talking about the director who's not there and it's a little bit out of context, it's very hard for that to translate into what we do.
Yes.
So you need to draw them out of that, and if it's
Is there a way I can make that question more specific?
no.
Because there was a really good interview, and I don't know the person's name off the top of my head, but I want to give them credit. But there was someone who asked a really good question where she said, what is an everyday thing that is really difficult to do on film? And it was like, and then they got some great answers that were like yawning, waking up. That's such a great question. And they never get what I'm saying is, I've never got to drive a car on film before. Or so I just want them to just drop a little bit of something. This is also like part of the, people are always like, whenever an influencer does a cringe junket, people are always like, what happened to journalism at junkets? And the problem with journalism at junkets, I'm not against it, but a lot of the so-called proper questions that you might ask will just get the actor to give you a boring answer. Like if you ask one of my least favorite questions, which is, what made you want to be in this film? Or what drew you to this film?
And it will be, I read the script and I just fell in love with the character.
Yeah. And I'm not being harsh here. I just mean in terms of what people will actually sit and watch. Even people who are interested in the movie, like no one wants to listen to someone be like,
I read the script.
I read the
loved
script
it.
and I just fell in love with it. It's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Because also they're not going to say, I read the script, thought it was pretty rough.
But the budget was good.
But the money was great. Like no one's going to say that.
Who was it who said like, I needed a paycheck as like a joke? And everyone was like, she doesn't care about art.
There's a famous quote from Michael Caine because he did like Jaws 3. And someone was like, what do you think about doing Jaws 3? And he was like, that was my holiday home. He was like, every time I'm in my holiday home, I think I'm glad I did Jaws 3. It's something like that. It's a great quote.
Funny.
But this is the game of when you're interviewing people of like, you're trying to do something that is on topic and respectful and not too random, but you're just dodging the elephant in the room, which is that they start doing the pre-prepared answers. Anyway, that's the normal pod today. Not one A-lister treaded this pod.
Hashtag normal pod.
Hashtag normal pod. We're just normal pod. We're just innocent pod.
Thank you for listening. I've been Hannah Townsend.
I've been Benedict Townsend. Make sure to follow the show if you haven't already.
Good night.
We love you. Bye.